the impacts of that day 5 years later, and that includes Alistair Chang. He's an extended family member of Michael Fanone, one of the officers who defended the Capitol that day. He's also a member of the D.C. State Board of Education. Alistair, thank you for being here today. You just heard the story. I'd love to sort of get your reaction to the fact that this plaque honoring the officers who served and sacrificed on January 6th has been blocked from being placed where this all happened. How are you feeling about that? What do you make of that?
I think it's part of the main message I want to share today is that what we haven't learned, the lessons from January 6th, 5 years later, and the main shadow that it cast on our city is a shadow of intimidation. And the way that Trump is now rewriting the story only works if we are afraid to speak the truth.
We'll talk a little bit more about that, but let's go back a little bit because you are a distant relative of Officer Michael Fanone, who's a DC police officer at the time, fighting for his life in a vicious attack on the steps of the Capitol. It's been 5 years, which seems like a long time, but what you've shared with me is that he still holds this deeply, carries this weight heavily 5 years later.
The intimidation wasn't just on folks in the Capitol, right? It was on that day to folks like Michael, who were city employees protecting the Capitol. It also extended beyond them to distant extended family, right? As a way to silence anyone who dared to criticize Trump and silence anyone from daring to do so themselves. For me, the main lesson from his experience, from our family's experience, is that authoritarianism doesn't start with tanks, right? It starts with those of us feeling now scared to have express our beliefs or scrub our social media for fear of losing our jobs.
Talk to me about the fear and the intimidation that you say Officer Fanone experienced as a result of speaking out.
Oh, the documented part, right, is going after not only, of course, him, but attacking his mother on the streets, right? For those of us in the extended family, it included things like sending my parents pizza ordered in his name, demanding that they pay for it, just to show that, you know, they know where they live,
Wow.
They know where we live, right, and they're watching. And in that climate, right, I understand why DC residents are both fearful, but I also understand and believe in our courage, right? As a school board member, what I see every day isn't just families telling me that, okay, I'm afraid to walk my kid to school now because I'm afraid of being taken by ICE, but also I see and I hear stories of neighbors stopping the National Guard if they see them profiling a neighbor. Those are the acts of courage that we need right now to be able to get through this moment.
Is this still happening to you and your family?
You know, the most recent time was too recent, and unfortunately it happens every time that he says something that is telling the truth and is getting to Trump and his people.
What does that say to you, that the truth has consequences?
It scares people and silences people from telling the truth. And so for me as a city official, I think it's my job and it's our job as a community to tell one another that we will have your back if you tell the truth.
Did you have anybody to turn to when this was happening? Could you report it to the police? Were people responding when your family reached out for help?
Well, the city doesn't know what to do with a pizza that's ordered in someone else's name, right? And I think part of the challenge for us as a city is to sort out how do we not only deal with, I think of this as similar to cyberbullying in schools, how do we deal with these kinds of political tactics when they don't quite rise to the standard that would otherwise deserve police intervention?
How do we deal with that? What are the solutions for that? Because if this is going to continue, Officer Fanone is going to continue to speak out, as will other people, about their truth on January 6th.
Yeah.
If they keep doing that, How can communities respond?
My proposal is that DC starts one front door so that we can collect all of this information and respond in a coordinated way so that folks in our city don't feel intimidated to speak up.
One front door. What is sort of the thing that has stayed with you personally the most about all of this? You've shared some of the experiences that have happened, but is there something that has really been singular for you personally?
I understand better now how it feels to be intimidated into silence.
Because you had never experienced that before.
I get why people are making that decision. And it takes courage to be able to continue to stand up. It's a marathon. To be able to continue to stand up and speak truth to power.
How is Officer Fanone doing now?
Got to see him over the holidays, and it's using the marathon analogy. He's got endurance, and he is continuing to do the work, knowing what the threats are.
Well, we thank you for sharing your story. We certainly thank Officer Fanone for his courage and for the fact that he's still here. There could have been a very different outcome, we know, based on what we've learned, based on what we've seen. What do you hope people take away from this conversation that we're having right now? Because they may not be in a situation where they're a target now, but they may be wondering, how do we move forward in an environment like this?
Right, that's right. I'll go back to what you started with, which is Trump only gets to rewrite history if all of us are afraid to speak up. So we have to use this as an opportunity to protect one another, to actually tell the truth.
Strength in numbers,
That's
is
right.
that what I'm hearing you say?
That's right.
Strength in numbers. Alistair Chang, thank you so much for being here with us today. I'm sorry for the burden that your family has had to carry as the result of this, but grateful for your courage and for your strength.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, so we have talked about this for a very long time. We have chronicled this journey since January 6th, 2021, and we know that this will never be forgotten for those who lived through it. And right now on WUSA 9 Plus,